Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We review anything and everything. And today we are getting into another dinosaur figure, and this is supposed to be the top dog. This is the Tyrannosaurus Rex Hammond collection. Now, I want to let it be known that I originally was not planning on purchasing this figure, but um, I saw it on sale and I bought it for my kids. But in addition to that, um, I actually have been waiting and you're gonna have to stay tuned for this. I've actually been actually searching for a video that compares this one to the one I consider to be the other top dog, um, the Real Feel Electronic Red Rex. But unfortunately, I was not successful in being able to find anyone who's done a video on that. So that inspired me to have to get this figure because someone has to do a video on it. And you know what the saying is, how the saying goes: if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. So we're gonna unbox this, and then we're gonna do a quick review on this, and then stay tuned because we are going to in the next video do a versus or comparison video between the Hammond collection Tyrannosaurus Rex and the Red T Rex for short. Now, affiliate link in the description where you could purchase this on Amazon. And I have my tools ready to get into this thing, into this box. If there's ever a point where this box gives me a hard time, well, then at that point, I'm just going to pause the video and we're just going to jump to the next scene of it being open because I don't like struggling with these kind of things. So, and you guys don't want to see me struggle with it. So, first, let's take a look at this box. I actually like the Ham collection boxes. I feel like they have this really nice collector's feel to them. I know they seem kind of simple, but yet there's something about it that I just think looks really nice. And what's actually funny about it too is for anyone who thinks that the color just being black and gray and whatnot is kind of a little dull, Lego does the same thing with their UCS, which I think stands for Ultimate Collectors Series. They do the same thing for those boxes. So, you know, companies kind of have like minded thinking when it comes to these kind of collector type boxes because they know they're more for adults and probably not as much for the kids. Here you can see some box art. Um, well, it looks like a depiction of the actual figure itself there, but then this right here, Tyrannosaurus Rex with epic power and colossal force. The Tyrannosaurus Rex is the ultimate carnivore when dinosaurs ruled the earth. So a little scene from the movie, the original movie. And a lot of people were waiting for this for a long time. Now, I know I'm late to the party when it comes to reviewing this, so this is going to be a quick review because I'm essentially just doing this so we can have our little comparison battle. So let's jump right into it. Don't mind my background. Um, Hopefully, it's not considered too distracting for you guys. Okay. Looks like I spoke too soon. I was about to say it looks like it's coming out very easy, but then we ran into a problem. Okay, but we made it. Not too bad. We're there. So here he goes. Now, as I get ready to take all these wires and everything off of it, I just want to mention a few things. So obviously, this T Rex was supposed to be very light. Well, I don't want to say the word lifelike, but have the most detail versus any previous T Rex that came out before it for the Mattel line. But then, in addition, one thing that I would point out is though people would talk about the size being a little bigger than the other ones, I anyone who's watched my previous review on dinosaurs on this channel knows that I'm very big about scale, and I actually really like the idea that this figure is not just about being bigger. It's actually scaled in length to what Rexy would be at least close to. So I'm going to do the measurements on the video, but essentially, let me see if I can get in this without causing too much damage. I don't want to cut the paint on the feet. The scale. Oops. Let's see, did we get that? Yes, we did. So the scale of this figure in terms of its length is supposed to be 25 inches, which comes to the equivalent scale of 40 feet. Now, most of the other ones that they've had previously were, I think, roughly about 20, we'll say like about 21 inches. So if I do the math, this is scaling to 19.2 is the scale amount. I got that based on a 3.75 inch figure being 6 feet tall. And most of the other ones will average about a length of the equivalent scale of 33 and a half feet. So they're a lot smaller, where, and obviously, because people complain about the tails being too short, but in regards to scaling to like the movies, Rexy, I think, was about 43 feet, they would say, somewhere between 43 and 44. So this one being the equivalent of 40 feet exactly is actually a lot more closer to scale than any other T-Rex was before it. Now, in addition to that, let's see if we can get this guy to stand. In addition to that, I was always never really sure when it came to height, when it comes to T-Rexes, because back in the days, you used to always see it say T-Rex's height was 18 feet tall. And then, sorry, I'm just trying to pose him so I can get him to stand, because he's very stiff, which is good because I actually don't want him to be loose, but at the same time, apparently he's too stiff. Okay, he has ratcheting feet. Let me see if there we go. Okay, I think we got him in a reasonable pose there. So he does have a lot of ratcheting in the legs, which is great, but obviously the articulation on the feet are not going to be a ratcheting effect. So that's something that to be known as far as to be aware of, because it could definitely get loose. I'm gonna take this out from the background. Don't mind that you guys see. It helps with the lighting, but that is a tank that was reviewed in a past video for fish tanks, so don't mind that. So yeah. So as far as like I said, if I could have had a different setup, but this is so big, so I kind of have to expose my background stuff. Sorry about that. So let's see when it comes to this height. Now, like I was just mentioning a moment ago. So with this articulation I have him at, he's roughly about at the hips, maybe about 8 inches or eight and a quarter. So doing the math once again. Puts him at about 13.2 feet high. So roughly the same height as the other ones if you were measuring them by their head, because their waist is their hips are not as high as this one. Where do I start with this? Because there's a lot. Well, first off, I'm not a fan of the articulation. I'm not trying to knock the Rex for that, but I'm not a fan of the articulation, mainly because I used to always say my issue with all that was the fact that I don't like figures that get loose. And this one, I've heard many stories where the whole barrel chest area just starts to slump over after some time. The legs have to be standing in a certain position to keep its height. So it's great that you can pose it, but then it starts to become a flaw later on. Obviously, the length of the tail I think is a great thing because you're getting that real length that the T Rex is supposed to have, at least 40 feet or more. Um, I like the detail inside the face. He does have that kind of little neck collar. They call it a turtleneck, I heard people say, but it's fine. It's for the articulation. Um, Let me move this because his tail is getting in the way of this box. Obviously, you guys have seen all this 100 times already, so it's nothing new. But yeah, the detail inside the face looks nice. Now, I like. Some people don't like this. I like the ratcheting jaws. Some people have said that that's required because this the gums, if you want to call them that. I don't know if that's what the proper name of them, but here we're going to call them gums, um, or cheek muscles, jaw muscles, whatever. That without a ratcheting effect, they wouldn't properly operate, or in time would start to loosen up and cause problems. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I like the ratcheting effect because then you don't have to worry about the jaws getting loose because you don't want the jaw to get loose over time, and then it get to a point where it's just not operating the way you want it to, or holding something in its mouth where you can kind of lock it down and it'll just be very flimsy. So that's something to me there. As far as the tongue, this is to me the best tongue that they've ever done, and it was introduced in the Epic Roaring, and so it's great. It's great that they carried it over. I feel like with this one, this Rex, there you get a nice image of the eyes in focus because the eyes are something very hard to get in focus. I feel like with this Rex, um, the they pretty much tried to go off of the many different things they learned from some of the previous ones and kind of put them all together to make this one of the best. Now, one thing I'm going to say about it also is, matter of fact, let me just pause one moment. I'm going to grab me a figure. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to do this is because I just wanted to make sure that everything kind of fit in terms of what I was about to say. But the head on this is scaled to the correct size in regards to. You see, that jawline right there is around 3.5 inches, which if 6 feet is a 3 and 3/4 figure, then generally speaking, his head is maybe the length of 5 feet or a little bit more than 5 feet, which is around the max that a T Rex's skull was supposed to be. So it definitely falls in line with that. And so I'm just pointing that out to say, unlike many of the T Rexes that came before it, the Epic Roaring, the Stomp and Escape, and whatnot, um, this one actually has a accurate scale for the head, and to me, that's just a really. I'm big on scale, like I said before, so I really like that they did the head really well in terms of the scale and the size, and that's great. And obviously, the paint job, you've heard it a million times, so I'm not going to get into it, but it looks just really nice paint job, really nice detail on the head. You can see it can angle in different ways, so this is just great for posing. And I get that. Like I said, the reason why I was never really a fan of it and wasn't originally going to get it was because I know over time articulation becomes your worst enemy. If anybody grew up with GI Joes back in the days, you would know because before long, none of them could even pose a hand because they were wobbling all around. Now, as far as the teeth go, I want to point out the teeth are they're nice because they are thick and they are individualized, which is a great thing, but they're not pointy. So, in my opinion, these are not the best teeth. They do look nice. I'm not saying that they are nice, and they do come over the lower jaw, just like in the movies, which all of them do. And so that's great. I think this is a very nice head. But as far as the teeth area go, they're not the best teeth to me. Now, the teeth that are on the Epic Roaring, that's on the Stomp and Escape, are better teeth. Let me just bring that into play real quick. And when I say they're better teeth, let me see if these things are actually made of rubber, because that's going to also detract from them. Okay, they are made of rubber, so they are a separate mold, which is great. And the painting actually looks nice on them, but they look very worn and like decayed teeth with that kind of more deeper yellow. But what I wanted to point out was this. So this is the Stomp and Escape one. Um, I like these teeth better because they're sharper. The one on the Hammond Collection one are great. I'm not saying that they're not good, but I like these a step better. Now, yeah, they don't have as much detail and paint on them, but I feel with teeth you don't need that. You just need them to be bone color, and that's fine. Which these are. Now, the Hammond Collection ones are actually more durable. I can feel that they feel a little harder. Maybe that's because of the paint, but they do feel like they're not as soft. But I like that these are sharper. But the only problem with these that you probably won't face with a Hammond Collection one, and I'm glad that I have this on mine to actually show it off. This side, it's on the outer part of the lip, where this side, it's in the inner part of the lip. So this side was done right and the other side was done wrong. So I say that and show that to say I don't like I think these teeth are fine. I don't think they're better than the older ones, but at least you probably are not going to run into that quality control issue on the teeth where they're coming out from the outside, they're not aligned correctly. um, in addition to that, like I said, this thing right here, I like that, but at the same time I don't. I like it because it looks nice, it feels real, but then I don't like it because who knows what damage might come from that years down the line. Or if this gets worn out or whatever the case is, that's going to be a problem. You can imagine somebody just losing this completely over time, and now that's gone. And it probably still will look nice, but it's definitely not going to be, it's going to be losing that factor. Like I said, once again, I love the tongue. You get that in the Epic Roaring one, and that really goes hand in hand with this. What's funny is these two things would go very well with the real feel skin on the outside, but um, obviously, you got to pick your poison in terms of what you're trying to get from your figure, in terms of articulation and whatnot. This video is starting to get a little long, so let me just throw in a quick measure of the length just to confirm that it's 25. I'm getting, actually getting 24, which I heard people say it was 25 before. I don't know if that I just don't have them as straightened out as it could be. I really don't know, but mine is actually 24. So he's definitely longer than the other ones, but he's not 25. I thought he was 25. Okay. Um, and that's really about it. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of all this posing and all this other stuff. You guys seen it plenty of times in other videos. Oh, one other thing, the feet is definitely a shorthand on this figure. Now, I know that there were remade pieces that you can buy on Etsy, that someone had put up for a different face with a whole different like head with teeth, and I think it even has a different jawline. I'm not 100% sure because it looks like it's for the teeth, but I think the whole jawline is a little wider and whatnot. But I think that the head is fine on this model to where you can keep that the same, but the feet are just really bad when it comes to this model. It's worse than the previous versions like the Stomp and Escape and whatnot, because at least on models like the Stomp and Escape and the other previous ones, you could see though they're bigger feet, they're in proportion to each other, meaning I mean to their size. So these feet are in proportion to what they need to be for themselves. Yes, the whole foot could be smaller, but it's not like you have over exaggerated toes that are going too far out. These toes just are not in scale with the foot. This is not how his foot should look at all. Even if they were big feet, the middle toe shouldn't be sticking out like that. So I feel that even though people ended up coming up with their own, 3D printed feet, you could have put Mattel could have put these feet on it, and I would have been fine with that. Me personally, I would have been completely fine with that, and I would have been good. So that was a huge flaw, and I think that hurt this figure. Now, like I said, finishing off the video, I'm just going to simply tell you, in my opinion on this figure, I think overall it's a great figure. I take nothing away from it. It's a good looking T Rex. Me personally, my opinion, I am not a fan of obviously the feet. I'm not a fan of the articulation, which a lot of people love. There's nothing wrong with that, but I feel that after maybe a couple of years, this thing is going to be flopping all over the place. And you're not even going to be able to get it to stand. Um, like I said, the face and everything I think looks nice. They did say that there was an issue with the glass eyes, which did supposedly get fixed a little bit. I don't know if my version is one where the eyes are a little bit fixed, because what happens is the deep um, black pupil deep inside would get lost and it would look like he has ghost eyes. I don't know if that's fixed on mine or not because I can see his pupil decently well, but I won't say it's perfect. So, and yeah, that's going to be it for this review. Throw any comments that you have down below. Any questions, like I said, affiliate link's going to be down below as well for you to purchase this on Amazon. And we are going to, in our next video, jump into the comparison between this and the electronic real feel Tyrannosaurus Rex. I'll catch you guys in the next video.